Another mass shooting.
Tonight, we're going to begin with Maggie Ruley in that small town now torn by this tragedy.
We've had a long night with our children and grandbabies we have left.
Just one day after losing his 14-year-old daughter in the worst mass shooting in Texas history, Pastor Pomeroy and his wife encourage others to seek comfort in each other.
We laughed together, we cried together, and we worshiped together. Now most of our church family is gone, and the few of us that are left behind lost tragically yesterday.
Frank Pomeroy is the pastor at First Baptist Church of Sutherland Springs. His daughter, Annabelle Renee Pomeroy, was inside the church when 26-year-old gunman Devin Kelly opened fire.
We have 6 ambulances en route.
The shooter was able to fire off multiple rounds on his automatic weapon, killing at least 26, many children, some as young as 18 months.
There was 3 firearms that had been recovered.
Authorities now believe the attack was fueled by a domestic dispute.
The suspect's mother-in-law attended this church. We know that he had made threatening texts.
Kelly has previously served a year in prison following a court-martial for assault on his spouse and her 11-month-old child. He received a bad conduct discharge from the Air Force in 2014. The nature of the charge should have prevented him from obtaining a weapon, and authorities confirm Kelly did not have a license to carry. For the past 6 weeks, Kelly was working as the manager at an RV park nearby. He left work on Saturday with a headache and never showed up on Sunday. Authorities believe he died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Authorities have now confirmed that they have video from inside the church and are reviewing it now. Witnesses who were here for the shooting describe the scene as horrific and say that more than half of the people who were inside that church were either shot or killed. Maggie Ruley, ABC News, Sutherland Springs, Texas.
All right, Maggie, thank you. And Devin Kelly has been identified as a former member of the Air Force who was forced out with a bad conduct discharge. Now, that's different from a dishonorable discharge. He spent a year behind bars for that conduct, which police say was a domestic situation. They say he had beat his wife and also his child. Now, helping us get to the bottom of all of this is former FBI agent Brad Garrett. And Brad, you know, it seems like this never should have happened on so many levels and for so many reasons. First off, how was he able to buy a gun? I guess when you get a discharge like that, you're considered a felon.
Well, that is correct. But the issue is that information has to get in to the NCIC database. So when, for example, the Texas State Police check your background, if it's not in there, they're not going to know about it. Keep in mind, this is a military conviction, so it would be up to the responsibility of the military to put it in there. So I think that's the problem.
The other issue when you look at this is there were warning signs. This was not an individual that was below radar. There were all kinds of warning signs. Why wasn't somebody notified earlier about the possibility of this guy going off the edge?
This happens almost, with the exception of Stephen Paddock at Las Vegas, all of this trail of behavior, from acquiring firearms to increased use of violence to more verbal aggression against people, and they're really what they call grievance collectors. They collect grievance and then they use that to build up and justify the shooting. And it would appear, at least what we know so far, this has something to do with his mother-in-law. And we'll have to look and see what the triggering event was. But you're exactly right. People don't feel comfortable for whatever reason in coming forward to tell law enforcement, you need to take a look at this guy.
You know, let me ask you this too. You're a profiler with the FBI. What is it about these mass shootings? Why, if somebody's this distraught, don't they just go out into a field and kill themselves? Because that's what they ultimately do anyway. Why do they need to include innocent victims? These are just people who went to pray.
Because it's a power play. The whole thing is to become powerful because they feel powerless. And they also want to be famous. You're not going to be famous by shooting yourself in a field, but if you walk into a church and kill 24 people, you're going to be famous.
Well, infamous anyway. All right, Brad, we appreciate you taking the time. Thanks.
Meanwhile, on the Hill today, a rally called